Welcome to another episode of Two Bros, One Couch. It's been a while, probably about 3-4 months.
Yep.
You've moved house.
I have.
We're in a new location. Looks pretty much the same as the last location.
Yeah.
Same decor.
Yes, but this one's like more expensive for me.
Yeah, a lot more expensive for you.
Yes, so.
Yes, you have become a homeowner, so congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pretty busy 4 months for me, which has been good.
This is March, start of March.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Anyway, we thought we'd introduce a new segment into this
new
podcast.
format, like a recurring format. So introduction,
theme.
and then we'll talk about like what gear and like things that we've been lusting after.
Yep.
Almost as just a diary of
Things we want.
Yeah. And then,
Yeah.
we thought it would be funny for us personally to look back and
think,
be like, wow,
we
I can't believe
never-
I was thinking of buying that back then.
Yeah, it's we live in a capitalist world, and these are the things we want. Anyway, the thing I want at the moment, Nikon D850. It's a DSLR. It's about 10 years old. It has the highest dynamic range of any DSLR ever made, and they're quite affordable.
And specifically DSLR, right?
Specifically DSLR. Yes, it has been eclipsed by some digital medium format cameras, but not by much, like half a stop to a stop, which is pretty crazy, considering it's 10-year-old tech. 45 megapixels, full frame.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's insane.
Wow.
45 megapixels,
wow.
7 FPS burst, like 480 tracking points, AFS, like the whole shebang. Anyway, they're about $1,200, and I've thought that's going to change my life. That's going to make me better as a man, better as a person. I have to have it. I have to have it. Anyway, so I'm delaying that purchase until I don't care about it anymore. Which, who knows? I might buy.
Because something we talked about sort of off camera was like a 2-week rule sort of thing.
Yeah, it's got to wait.
Where you lust for something, and if you wait 2 weeks and you're still sort of thinking about it and you're still preoccupied by it, that's maybe like another signal that you should think about.
Yeah, if
buying
it. I think it totally depends.
Especially if you can afford it, like if it's affordable.
Oh yeah, like
humble brag. Oh, $1,200 easy.
Yeah, I'd have to think about it. But I think it totally depends on your emotional state when you're buying, when you want it.
Yeah.
If you've had a rough week, something's gone wrong. Oh God, I'm not the man I thought I was. I'm not the artist I think I need to. What you know what I mean? Some crap.
Yeah.
I think you're probably more susceptible to falling into the trap.
Yeah.
But I think when things are good, you don't need stuff.
Yeah.
When things are stressy,
Interesting.
you kind of want stuff more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
When do you want stuff?
All the time. But
all the time.
All the time.
Is there always something bouncing around?
I'm always thinking about.
Always.
That could be like undiagnosed ADHD, but
I think maybe, but like all like every day it's like maybe.
Yeah, like if there's something. Actually, no. There's something like that I'll get very preoccupied by. But it's interesting what you say about like you're more susceptible to it after like a big week or something.
It's when you're like emotionally tired.
Yeah, because I think that works on you in 2 ways. One way is in the like, you're emotionally more like I need something, I want something
I need a reward.
Yeah, as a salve, whatever you have going on. But then the other thing is like with that fatigue, you have less willpower to fight actually buying it.
You've the willpower is it's a finite amount.
Yeah,
you've spent it all that week. You might have been really healthy. You might have been eating well, going to the gym. I'm going to buy that camera. You know what I mean? Anyway, what are you lusting after, Jory?
I got more questions about your camera.
Okay, well,
first.
Sorry.
So the D850. So you mentioned there's some medium format mirrorless cameras.
Yes.
Which are better.
Yes.
Is the reason that they're just too expensive, or is there some functionality they don't have?
They are a lot more expensive. I think the Nikon that era of Nikon as an ecosystem is quite affordable. So that the camera's like $1,200. You can pick up like an AFS 24-70 for like $800.
Oh yeah.
And you're pretty much you're away. Like they're an f2.8
really
prime the whole way through. Like SD cards are pretty cheap for it. Yeah. Batteries are cheap. It's weather sealed. It's not like this enormous camera.
Yeah.
You can get like an additional battery grip for it. It's like there's an established workflow. Like it's also like it was designed as like a secondary camera to the D5. So it has the same sort of focusing system as the D5 and all that stuff. So it was designed to, like your D5 is your primary camera and your D850 is like your second shooter.
Yep.
and a lot of people ran like just dual D850s because they're such a good camera and so much cheaper than the D5. The D5 still sort of bangs around on, like I see them on the NRL sometimes, like professional shooters still shoot D5s.
Is it the same sensor as the 850?
The D5? I think so. Yeah, I think it's the only real difference is like it's a full-size body out of the gate, and I think it has like just more stuff, more crappy, flash multimetering modes and like bracketing modes and all that crap for,
You don't shoot much flash, do you?
No. Yeah. I have thought about it if I was to buy the D850, I'd actually want to. One of the things that piqued my interest in the D850 was I did some fashion stills work for a guy, an older photographer who was still shooting on a D850. And the workflow he'd established, there's a program called Capture One, which is like a tethering software for photographers. And like you shoot an image, it comes through to the Capture One, you see the RAW, and then it applies the look. And like the RAWs coming out of the D850, I was like, geez, they look pretty miserable. And then the look was applied, and it was like, oh my God. It's like, I think so much of photography, especially like building a look that you like outside of, like a tonal look outside of composition and framing and whatever, is like computational. It's all like, get it into Capture One, build a look, build like a tonal range that suits the vibe, tweak it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like the sensor almost doesn't matter, but it's like you can get away with an older sensor if you're shooting in that way. If you're shooting for JPEGs that come straight out of camera and you don't want to dick around, then look, maybe think about a Fuji or something. But the D850, because the digital neg has so much dynamic range, you can really push it a lot. It's just I think it's a nice way to work. I think it's a nice way to always try and have the most latitude you can in your image and then sort of squeeze it into whatever direction you want.
Yeah, so, stills, in my opinion, DSLRs make a lot of sense for like stills and that kind of thing. But for video...
I wouldn't use it for video.
Yeah.
It does shoot 4K, it shoots 4K 30, but it's not a video camera. It's primarily a stills camera.
All right.
But anyway, it's like it's something just ticking away in the background.
We'll watch this space. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see if
it like I think talk about time. Like waiting 2 weeks before.
Yep.
Like I think if you're still like thinking about it, and you're preoccupied by it after 2 weeks. That's sort of like okay, that's a signal to think about it deeper.
Yeah. It's always bubbling away, but I haven't really felt the absolute pull.
Yeah. Okay.
Press the button on eBay.
Yeah.
Anyway. What would you like to? Is there anything that you'd like to purchase?
So I think for me, I've recently had a twinge of like nostalgia looking through as a part of the move some like photos I'd taken previously and thought about using my old like Nikon F2.
Do you still have the F2?
I still do. It's so I still have it. Something which happened is the battery compartment at the bottom. So I have the F2AS. So the F2AS means it has the DP12 finder, which is the best finder, best metered finder they made for the F2 system.
Yep.
But it needs batteries. And on my Nikon, the battery compartment at the bottom, the plastic in that broke, so the contact wasn't working. So I took it basically apart to get to that, to resolder it back together, and then put it back in, and then put the finder back on. So it's currently very fugly and doesn't have leatherette on the front, but they are very easy to work on, actually. Like the mirror box, you peel the leatherette off, you disconnect self-timer, mirror box comes straight out, or everything you need is like down in there. So, that is just another thing.
So it's workable, but just like not pretty.
Yes. So I have it, but it is kind of like fugly, and I bought the black color. So this gets onto the meme of gas, right? Where you're like,
I gotta have the silver.
Yeah, the silver is classic. I bought the black because I'm like, it's aesthetic,
Yeah, tastes change,
Yeah, and then as you get older, you're like, you know what, like, yeah, chrome is the shit. Anyone who has like a black camera, I'm like, that's fucking lame, dude. Like,
so you wanna buy another F2?
So I want a chrome F2, but I want it with the DE1 finder, which is the unmetered finder.
Okay.
100%
coverage.
Yeah.
What's the magnification? 0.75?
Well, it's not, no.
It's just a 1-to-1?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you look so like
what you see is
the best finder.
What you see is what you get.
they ever made.
Okay. Well, man, the D850's only got a 0.75.
And one of them in good nick, like 500? No lens will run you, $500.
Oh yeah. eBay Japan.
Yeah, eBay Japan.
Of course.
Yep.
Mint plus.
Yep.
Not a top mint or
just regular mint.
Just regular mint.
Yeah. Well, you know me. I treat my stuff like shit basically.
Yeah.
So like it'll like by the time I take it out of the box, it'll look worse.
It'll have some love scars.
Yeah. It's like that's how I like to use everything, right? I got a phone without a case because it's mine.
Is that still alive?
Mate, like if you.
Has it been dropped?
Yeah, look at like the top and bottom, but it's micro scratching.
Oh, yeah.
Mate, I've dropped that thing easily a dozen times.
That's crazy. I was of the belief that these things were basically shatter magnets.
The tech has come
Gorilla Glass
far enough.
Wow.
And nowadays they're whole aluminium bodies, the current iPhone Pros, because they conduct heat better.
Interesting.
And they need that for
the heat sink, baby. The whole thing is a heat sink.
Performance. Yep.
Well, there's another piece of gas as well.
You want a phone?
No, I was thinking about a MacBook Pro with like the M4 Max chip to run Capture One, because Capture One now has these like, they call it live retouching, where if you're doing fashion stuff, you can do a live retouch look on a model's face in Capture One, but it's it's AI, accelerated, so it's pretty compute heavy. So you need like a pretty fat MacBook. Anyway, enough about things we want to buy.
So anyway, but what I was talking about is the nostalgia of using that camera, and what I remembered about it most specifically was just like how tactile it was.
The buttons.
Like, yeah, the feeling of like when you wind the film, you can feel it, because the F2, this is like so fucking lame. The F2, you can wind the next shot in as small an increment as you want, so you can feel the ratchet fall into like the detent for like every like 5 degrees of like rotation, and just like all those like little feelings, right? You press the button, you feel it like slap, and you're like, oh.
They say that Gen Z is, craving analog experiences.
Yeah, and like, I mean, that's, the like for the camera is
knitting
like,
classes are up. Knitting,
Yeah, that's weird.
Crochet.
But yeah,
painting.
So the like that tactile thing, like that's not confined to cameras to me, right? Like I last year bought a Suzuki DRZ 400E.
That's right, yes.
Because it was like, it's here in Queensland. Here in Queensland, like we do have like some like emissions. No, actually, no, we don't. They just had to change. No, what it was is it doesn't have ABS. And in 2019, it became illegal to sell motorcycles without ABS, but the Queensland cops use the DRZ 400 as their like off-road bike sort of thing, and so they got that. A single model had an exemption, and so they continued to make it as is, no ABS, still with the carburetor, all that good shit, and then they refreshed the model end of last year. So I bought the last year of the OG,
the analog.
Yeah, and I fucking love that. I love turning the choke on, like it's a bit cold out one morning, so you don't have to put the choke on, all that kind of thing. And then when it gets hot, you're like, oh, I got to choke it, and then whatever else. Like, doesn't have a fuel gauge. You have to remember to like set your odometer and check like what your thing is. Like, it has like the fuel valve, has like a reserve and all sorts of stuff to like stop you getting out of trouble. So like, but yeah, so I generally just like that as like the experience of using something.
The lifestyle.
Yeah, so.
How you interact with the object.
That's right. Connectedness to the things. Like I think I sent you like a video of it, just like French guy talking about like objects with personality kind of thing. And
this was a man who was driving a Porsche
911, yeah. It's very cool.
As an object, pretty cool.
Yeah. But he had like a ton of other cool shit as well. He had a bike and he's like, no, it was like a fixed speed.
Yeah.
So it was like,
that's a bit of a meme.
Well, he had the fixed speed, and he probably said the most meme shit ever, where he was like, so on those days where you're tired, you can't do anything sort of thing. And like, you get taken down much more simple. On the days you feel strong, you're like, I can take on the world. And you're like, come on, bro, it's a bike.
Fixed gears are a meme because like you cannot stop pedaling.
No.
You just cannot stop. Like, it doesn't matter. You can't coast. You can't, it's a fixed gear. Like I had a moment where I was like, fixed gear, it's all about fixed gear. This is when I was like 19, 20. And then So lame.
You remember when we were in Japan and we rented bikes to ride out to that?
Yeah, they were tiny.
To ride out to Brat Style, which is a motorcycle.
You bought something from there, didn't you?
I bought a t-shirt, which I still have.
Yes.
But I rented a fixed gear for the meet because I was like, yeah, it's cool. And then like, as soon as I rode out, I was like, a tremendous error of judgment. I was like,
tremendous. Yeah, they're fucking misery. Like, I have quite a nice bicycle, which I built 3 years ago with my cousin. Heaven.
Yeah, are they still doing the bike stuff?
Yeah, Jack's still, he's actually working at a robotics company now.
Is he?
No, an automation company, an engineering automation company, as an intern.
They got automated bikes, they're called motorbikes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. But I actually cleaned that bike up the other day. I rode it to work.
Oh yeah,
Suncorp. Yeah. It's fantastic. Love that. Love that bike.
Hell yeah. That's
beautiful.
Sick. But yeah, that's my gear thing. So I guess what that's trying to fulfill in me is like, that nostalgia and also wanting to like use an object where you're like in command of it and sort of thing. And if it goes well.
You're responsible.
Yeah.
If you fuck it up, it's on you.
Yeah.
If it looks amazing,
which is fine.
It's on you.
Which is fine. Because I think maybe you feel differently, but like been taking photos long enough now to like reliably take a good one in terms of exposure.
Yeah. If you can't nail an exposure now, well, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. And so
the actual image itself,
a lot of that
miserable.
Yeah, the actual composition,
hopeless.
Yeah,
but yeah, you can see it at least. That's something.
So yeah, that's me.
Fantastic.
Watch this space. Yeah, I could go an F2. I could go a Chrome FM3A because that was like Nikon's swan song to like SLR film cameras.
Look, an F2 titanium.
They don't make them in titanium. They only make
was it the F3?
Titans in black. They do make an F3 in titanium.
I saw it was some press version of some F camera in titanium. I was just like, oh my god.
Yeah, they make a titanium F3, which is like a champagne-y color, which is like very cool, but like they're collectible and they're like retarded expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shall we say disabled expensive?
You have to be mentally disabled to want to spend that much money for one.
Yeah. Anyway, what else is on the menu?
So yeah, so that was the recurring gas segment to look back on and think about what we've bought or haven't bought because we've been like, wow, I came to my senses. But the meat, the intellectual part of the conversation.
Whoa, that wasn't an intellectual extravaganza.
I mean, depends. But so something I wanted to actually talk about is something like is grievance politics, basically.
Explain to me, Jory. What are grievance politics?
So grievance politics is basically so people are probably more familiar with the idea of like populism kind of thing and populist sort of politics where like, you have someone speaking truth to power and it's a bit demagoguery here in Australia, like our populist politics. The most famous one would be like One Nation, like that kind of thing where you have like a leader who is like, very famous.
I'm going to tell it how it is.
And then their firebrand and all that kind of stuff. But grievance politics generally is the idea, and it's related to populism a lot of the time. They're not necessarily the same, but they are typically like connected in how they actually manifest. And grievance politics is like, so say, for example, you're someone who's struggling to buy a house or something for whatever reason that's very important to you to do. And it's obviously very expensive here in Australia. So you're grieved about how difficult it is. And so as a result, politics which appeal to your want to do that are appealing to you. So that would be like, if someone's selling you like, well, immigration's kind of like the problem. And so, you will like, you'll be like, okay, sure, you get on board with that. Or like, it's like best practice industry conditions are kind of the problem. And so like you vote against like any kind of like unionized labor stuff. But it's like other stuff too. It's like, it can be like depressingly banal as you want. It can be stuff like, well, I just don't think the government should be putting stuff in our water that I should drink. So I'm anti-fluoride. So like I like someone who doesn't like that. And so it's just the politics of like there's some grievance you have.
And then someone is aligned with that politically and then you vote for
them. Purportedly aligned, not necessarily.
Right, publicly aligned.
Yes. Like what they say is aligned to that.
Okay.
And so like I'm not going to pick on like right side of politics. I'll pick on the left side too. So like people on the left love to like moan about investors and all that kind of stuff and what they're doing to the housing market. And so policies which would punitively target investors, they're like, I'm on board with it. Like that is also grievance politics. Like, let's not pretend this is like some uniquely right-wing like problem. And I mean, I guess what I want to talk about is like when people are sort of struggling, grievance politics is very appealing because you have a lot of grievances basically. But if you only sort of have that, it's not very productive. And so like ideally I'd like to talk about what you can sort of do to kind of, I guess, rise above it in a way. But I'll probably make a pause here and I'll say like, so I'll say grievance politics, I'll talk about that. Is there anything that sort of comes to mind for you?
Not particularly. I think like a lot of politics has been like, in a broader sense, I think politics has become a blame game. Like who can we blame for this problem? And then how can we align ourselves with someone who is going to fix that problem that we've blamed our life? You know, whatever's happened in our life, it's sort of an externalization of like, what's the word? You're externalizing your problems. Like you feel like you're not able to take control of your own life or your own destiny or whatever. And it's easy to say, it's that fault or it's this fault, or you know, it's an external problem, which then becomes a grievance, which then becomes, you know, you're blaming a group of people or you're blaming something for something, which I don't think is necessarily. Look, I think it's tough, right? Because I think macro trends, you can really point to stuff and say like, well, like, you know, that aligns with like that is a big grievance that I have with Australia or, you know, other countries, but I think when it comes down to like smaller stuff, I think most people probably have control or enough control.
Yeah, I mean, it's how when people like kind of like externalize their agency, right? Where it's problematic, where it's like, well, I can't do anything because of this macro trend. And it's like, well, you know, you can do things, and we're not going to pretend like it won't be harder for you to do that because of the situation.
I think there's some like let's look at housing for a start. Like that's a pretty broad macro trend at the moment in Australia, and like, depending on your level of privilege, there really can be not a lot that you can do, or, you know, there can be quite a lot that you can do. Like, I think, like buying any sort of property is never going to be easy, but it's also potentially not that hard either for people who have more privilege.
Correct, yes.
And I think if you're trying to do everything by yourself, then it becomes incredibly difficult. But there's people that do it, you know, like there's people that work their way into that market. But I also think that they don't, I don't know, like it's, on one hand, I respect people that have the nous and the ability and the self-determination and the willpower and the, you know, resilience to kind of bash down that door. But also I completely understand people who have given it a red hot go and now feel like they've been left behind and have to find someone to blame, you know, like I think it's a tough, it doesn't like none of this stuff like exists in isolation from like the real problems and difficulties like there are. I think it's when politicians capitalize on an easy fix, you know, like great, you've done it, you've found the thing that you blame. Now the simplistic reductive answer to your problem, we've got the answer for you. Is this one thing? If we just did this, if we just had the, you know, were enabled to do that politically, then we'd do it. And then, you know, and again, for like someone who's like populist, you can always sell that message because fundamentally you never actually get your hands on the actual levers of power because a lot of the time what you're selling is not fundamentally that popular, which is less true for One Nation nowadays, polling above the coalition. So, that's a tough one. But I should be like clear that like everything I'm going to talk about, you know, I'm not saying that there aren't structural issues facing people, and that like, you know, people who, you know, do, you know, try and like, you know, break into whatever thing they're trying to like accomplish, that there's not, things don't happen in their life which, you know, makes that situation untenable for them. But sort of it's that conversation of like, well, you know,
people want to talk like in living grievance, which I think is nowadays more. I think I see it more. It could be confirmation bias, but it's because of like how media is more and more sensationalized and like that kind of thing. And so, that kind of, blaming one thing and it's like, it's fireworks, it's spectacular. It's like, someone just really like speaking truth to power and like, it's great TV. This is going to be great TV.
Yeah.
But then it's like actually not actually fundamentally productive. And it's a lot of the time as well done in a fundamentally dishonest way.
How do you get around the challenge of having a grievance and then reconciling it in a way that's positive?
Well, fundamentally, in my opinion, it's so I said before, grievance politics typically becomes more like, you see more of it when people are struggling, when like the macro situation for people is more difficult. And so the way you actually treat grievance politics is to not, in a lot of ways, not actually really address it. It's to actually fix the like surrounding underlying stuff. And then people aren't struggling as much. And then all of a sudden they don't have the grievance. You don't have to like, let's pick on like the immigration thing where it's like, you don't have to be like, well, actually, immigrants are a really important part of the Australian economy because, a lot of people come in as students and like they get jobs and like while they're students, that's how we support our university system fundamentally, blah, blah, blah. They huge contributors to GDP. Like the average Australian is actually a negative tax burden on the Australian economy, whereas immigrants are tax positive. And so you can like, that's not actually really how you address it. You just work around the edges and you'd be like, not around the edges. You actually address fundamental problems, which require a lot of political capital to do. But that is how you.
I think. we're in a period now where Labor has that political capital to burn. They're in power.
We're going to get tangented here.
Yes, we are.
Yes. Go on there. Sorry, I was specifically in the point of Labor has the political capital.
So they've been in power for a term now, and they've been re-elected for their second term with a pretty huge majority. But we haven't yet seen any appetite to really address... there's been a little bit... So the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, has sort of tabled some CGT talks. He's sort of talking about, maybe we need to readdress CGT and, generational inequality and all that kind of stuff. That's the only real murmurs, inklings of burning of that political capital that I've seen. I haven't really seen anything else where they've been like...
So the super stuff.
The what?
Superannuation stuff.
Superannuation stuff? Have I missed this?
People with balances of more than $3 million
yes, that's
full
like
concession.
What's that, like 3% or 2% of all super balances or
Not
something?
even.
It's
less than
all.
1%.
Yeah, I don't think that's, a big enough change to make.
Well, they had to walk back from it because of the amount of negative press.
They had to. They chose to not expend their
that
political capital on that.
I'll say this, that was a blip on my radar because it's so insignificant that I obviously have forgotten about it.
Right.
But no, I think the CGT
$40 billion a year. Down
$40 billion?
That's how much. So, and it's because, sorry, I'm tangenting on a tangent, but it's because they said $3 million, but the accounts they're actually targeting have like tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right, okay.
Like that,
so a thousand, yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've missed that boat. Anyway, but now we're on to CGT. Yeah. So it's like, do we, I read there was some report from the Australian Institute that said if you actually want to make the CGT discount equitable, you have to make it backdated.
Yeah, which is grandfather it.
Yeah, no. You have to eliminate. You cannot grandfather it in.
Oh.
If you bought an investment property 30, 40, 50 years ago,
you're
going to get walloped with CGT.
Yeah.
They said to make it equitable, you have to do that. You can't just introduce it from now on because every boomer or everyone that's got an investment property just sits on that gets their 50% discount and just, ho, 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 goes home with a sack full of cash. So they want to, I don't think the government's going to do that because that's not palatable, I think, politically. But the Australian Institute said pretty much we have to.
Be interested to read that because, that's would not be consistent with my understanding of how you'd want to shape sort of the market.
I think it makes sense. Like if you're going to remove that discount or reduce the discount, I think you can't just do it for new investors. I think you have to do it in a way that if you've had 26 years, when was it introduced? 2001, 2002, or was it late 90s?
I think it might have been 2000. So it was introduced by
Howard.
Howard.
So you've had 25 years of
capital
growth that has been discounted. Like, you've bought and sold properties over that 25-year period.
Yeah.
You've made a lot of money, or maybe not.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess all right. So I'm not going to talk about specifically that policy. I would right now. What I'm going to say is like that idea of like the capital that Labor has. So like, I think after the election which we had in May last year, people talk about like the mandate which like Labor has. But if you actually look at like the ABS, Australian Bureau of Statistics data on how that election went, the reason they actually had like such a swing towards them was by people sort of actually moving away from like Liberals kind of thing, and about in Greens seats, people like voting less Greens on their primary sort of vote sort of thing. So in terms of the actual swing towards Labor saw its lowest primary vote ever in 2025.
That's more of a comment on demographic change, I think.
Yeah, kind of. It does connect to like grievance politics stuff, because like people hate the two-party system, which is like fair enough, really. But in terms of like an actual mandate, in terms of the number of people like, oh, I love Labor and I love what Labor is
Lowest number ever.
Lowest number ever.
Okay.
So they actually don't have that mandate. Like, so because of preference flows and that kind of thing, they have notionally a mandate, but they don't really. Like, they certainly have the capital because they have the seats.
So their mandate is actually to work with the parties that got them
their
into
mandate,
power.
if anything, is to do nothing. Because
that's what got them into power, yeah.
Because that is what...
Yeah. So that's grim.
That is very grim.
So I think...
so that was a sidebar, because I like, that is just a pet peeve of mine when people talk about like, Labor have a mandate. Like, they don't have a fucking mandate. Like, like their lowest primary vote ever, it is only because of quirks of preference voting going their way this election that they have the 90-something seats that they have in the lower house. It is like, that is not something which any Labor supporter should expect to come around in 2028 or earlier, if like for whatever reason, if we have an election prior to that. Anyway, so that is like the sidebar. But back onto like grievance politics. So like the capital gains tax stuff, that is grievance politics for a lot of people.
So do you think there's a level of breadcrumbing here from Labor to sort of curry a little bit of political favour with that aggrieved group?
Yeah, I mean, I think...
Do you think there's any real plan to address what a lot of people have found to be...
honestly, my 2 cents, they'll do something. I think like people like the Australia Institute and the Greens will say like, it's not enough kind of thing.
It'll never be enough.
That's right.
Of course not. And not until, there's 3 people making all the money in Australia and everyone else is on their coattails. Will it be enough for the Greens?
Yes.
But that's okay.
Yeah. So
I'd love to be on those coattails.
And so, yeah, I think they'll do something that sort of like won't be enough. But I think the effect they're actually looking to have is to like tamp down the rate of growth of house pricing, because 60-ish percent of people nowadays own a home, sort of thing, and so they have no incentive to see the price go down.
No, and they've said that. They've come out and said, we don't want house prices to go down. We want sustainable growth.
Yeah,
we want the price
What's
to...
her name? It's the federal minister for housing. It's not Tanya Plibersek. It's something else.
I think...
Long-time Labor MP, but I can't remember her name right now.
That's what they said. They came out and said, we don't want to see house prices go down.
No, they don't. Because it'd be electorally, like, basically.
Well, but it's also like...
And it would, if they did, you would see a lot of people, like, you'd see 60% of people having, like, negative equity on their home.
I don't think if house prices went down, like, house prices would have to go down 50% for people to be living in a negative equity environment.
Depends on when you bought. I take your point. It may only be like 10 or 20% of recent home buyers.
Well, look at New Zealand. Negative. New Zealand's now sitting at pre-COVID levels of value in their housing market. So they've come down to I think houses are now at like 2020 level values, and that's driven primarily because of a lack of immigration and almost an exodus from New Zealand. People are leaving New Zealand.
The brain drain.
But their housing market's affordable. Like as a relative to income, it's quite affordable now.
Yeah.
Is New Zealand as an economy doing well? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean Canada as well recently. They really put the brakes on their immigration and they've seen their house prices come down significantly.
I think another thing Australia could think about doing, we're now just back on housing, because housing is the only topic that...
As an Australian.
Well, it's just the one everyone knows
it's the only topic.
And it's emblematic of so many of the fucked up things about our country.
It's the only thing which anyone in Australia gives a fuck about, because the Australian dream is to own a home, right? So, yeah, so I think something that Australia could look at doing is limiting overseas investment. I think...
Well, they did.
If you're a foreign national, you don't have to live here to buy a house. You don't have to be an Australian citizen. There's also no identity checks when you purchase a house in Australia.
Yeah, there is. Are you an Australian citizen? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember if it was something actually done by ScoMo pre-2022 election or if it was something which Peter Dutton floated.
I bought a house 2 years ago. Didn't even have to show ID.
Yeah.
Seriously. I just had to sign a name and a signature and pay a deposit. And they're like, sweet, it's yours, here's the title.
Here it is.
And that's...
Big Bang clipped the ticket on the way in.
They don't give a fuck.
Clipped the ticket on the way out.
They don't give a shit, mate. Oh, I saw a meme which was like CommBank seeing a house that, that someone bought for 300 grand, has had a mortgage on for 30 years, being sold to someone else for 1.8 million, and the mortgage is still with CommBank. They don't give a fuck, Oh, great, more money. Like, there's not a problem there.
Yeah.
Yes. So in terms of, rising above sort of grievance politics.
How do we get above it?
Like I said, I think my thesis would be you just
let's take this back. What's your grievance? What do you have?
Well, my life is good, so I don't have any. That's
I'm sure there's something.
Well,
what's a grievance? Do identity politics fucking shit you up a wall? Do you care?
Like the woke stuff.
Well, yeah.
I think the woke stuff is lame. But I only think it's lame because it distracts people from talking about issues which affect their actual lives, which is a very cis white male thing to think.
It's only their entire identity that's being
questioned and brought into disrepute. But people will have that conversation and they'll spend like political capital on it, and then they'll go into work and they have a garbage EBA.
Yeah,
because all everyone ever fucking talks about is like
identity politics.
Yeah, is whether or not you can like.
Well, yeah,
be gay.
We spent a decade on pronouns and we've seen no wage growth.
Yeah, correct. So that's why I don't like it.
I think it's valuable, but I think you're right in the fact that yes, there are, if everyone's wage had gone up 20% in the last decade and we could all afford homes and the economy was booming, I don't think there would be as much interest.
Conversation, no.
No one would give a fuck.
No.
Who cares if Tanya's now Shane or Shane's now Tanya? Who cares? He's got a house, she's got a house. Yep. They've both got a house.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
But instead, we're sitting here squabbling over, crumbs.
Yep.
Because, we're effectively dealing with classism, and I think, and lack of unionism.
And classism is interesting as well in Australia, right? Because we fundamentally view ourselves as like an egalitarian.
We're not.
Society.
Bullshit, man.
Yeah, correct. But like so many people,
we believe we are. I've had this argument with Kristen, because I deeply believe. Well, I think maybe a little less deeply now, but I used to strongly believe that this was a meritocracy. I was like, Australia, that's who we are. You turn up, you work hard, you bloody have a good crack, fair shake of the sauce bottle, whatever you want to say, and then you work. You do all right. And I've seen time and time again that not happen for people.
Yeah,
people that I think are deserving or are hard workers or whatever, and you see total fuckwits just like cruising, like, yeah, mate, this is it. Like, I think there's still a level of social mobility that we have that is good, but it's by no means like everyone starts from zero, and the harder you work, the more you get paid, or the more advantages you have.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like something I've noticed in like my professional career is like there's like a level of baseline competence and initiative that like you show and that kind of thing as like me as a person.
Wow, you have a baseline level of competence.
Allegedly.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Don't big note yourself.
So that I like to say. And but like because I'm like friendly and sort of outgoing and like that kind of thing. Like I've seen opportunities afforded to me that just haven't been given to other people. Simply because I'm more personable and like people just like want to
hang out with you, man.
Yeah, literally. Like, that's literally it.
Yeah, it can be good.
Yeah, I mean, it is good. And you do the job and they're like, great, nice. And you're like, mate, like, I know.
I did the job.
Yeah, I know people who could have done what I did, but you wouldn't have liked hanging out with them as much. And so they didn't get the work. And it's kind of like, well, is that kind of the job? Like, on the meritocracy point, is that part of the job? Because if it is...
It's the soft skills, hard skills.
Because if it is, well, it's still a meritocracy. But if it's... Well, I can just do some Excel monkey shit really good, but I'm like, have terrible BO, and I'm like, all I want to talk about is fucking like Warhammer, which I'm down to talk about, by the way. But
it's when they start talking about why women aren't human. That's usually a bit of a downer.
Someone says void, you're like, oh, that's real.
Yeah. So no, I think you're right. I think that all those things are part of the game.
Yeah,
they are part of the skill set.
Yeah, but as well, it's like, well, I think there's some part which you can't discount, which is like, well, I mean, I have those soft personable skills, and I'm like white man, tall.
Tall. Well, calm down.
I'm 6 foot.
I know what you mean.
Yes, and it's kind of like, well, is it only because of those things? Is it a meritocracy? So, yeah. So
I think it's really hard. I think. For both of us to actually probably
it's actually the hardest for both of us.
I think it's hard for us to gauge,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I've had this feeling about my lighting career. I knew nothing. People just assumed I knew stuff because I spoke with a level of authority.
Yeah.
Because I'm a tall white man. People looked up to me literally. So they were like, he knows.
Doe-eyed, like, tell me.
Where should we put the lights? I don't fucking know. Maybe over there. Oh, good idea. Like, and that's, it's all brain stemmy, fucking, out of the swamp shit. It's just dumb.
Yep.
It's just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've both got houses.
Yeah.
That's
both
good, I guess.
Struggling.
Yeah, we're doing all right. Yep. What are my grievances? Do I have any grievances? I think my grievance is cunts with investment properties. Fucking should be illegal.
Like, how many? Like, just one?
No. Look, I'll say this. I think you can have a holiday house.
Yep.
That's it.
Can you Airbnb it?
No short-term rentals. No short-term rentals. You can tenant it, and you can kick them out for Christmas. But, okay, that's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah, 6-month leases only.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Like,
well, that's...
Because I think short-term tenants, like Airbnb stuff, is destroying the housing market. So apparently, something like 15% of Australian houses sit empty. 15%. There's no one in them ever. All the time. If you free up that supply, I think we need to tax the arse. I think Airbnb should be illegal. I think there's no value in that business model.
Yeah.
Like, apart from the service fee that they charge, that they just take a clip of.
Yeah.
It's just dumb. Like, it's effectively like an online. It's just a listing platform.
Yeah.
I think it should be illegal. I don't think it provides any real value. In fact, I think nowadays you find an Airbnb, by the time you get done with it, it ends up being more expensive than a hotel.
Yeah, because I fucking hate Airbnbs.
You got to clean it. You got to,
like,
oh my God, what am I paying you for?
Yeah, I mean, will take us on a tangent about like, disruptive like platforms like Uber and like Airbnb, where you're like, nowadays, like getting an Uber, you're like, fuck this, I'm just gonna get a fucking taxi.
I get taxis now. Like, Uber's disgusting.
Yeah, like it's like takes so long, it's slow, and you're like, and you get some guy pulls up in a clapped out Honda Jazz, and you're like, why did I wait like this long when I could have just got a taxi?
Because it's the decade of capital that they've invested in subsidizing the cost of the service so that it's attractive. Yeah. And now they're ringing its
positive associations with it because you remember using it. Yes, and they
$8 in fucking 2021, like 2012. Now it's enshittification. Have you heard the phrase?
Yeah.
Every platform goes through this.
Yeah, maybe that's our grievance. Tech people.
Pretty much. Tech bros. They're fucking cunts. Like, how much money do you have to have?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to take us on like another tangent.
The whole thing's tangents, mate.
Yeah, I'll try to like float around the idea of like grievance.
We're still on a grievance though. Well, now I'm aggrieved with rich people.
Yeah.
You've got what I don't have. Lots of money.
Well, so this is this will connect us to grievances. So so historically, if you were historically, if you were like society was much more classist. You had like actual like denominations
Defined
of
classes,
where you were.
yep.
You know, you were a serf, you were this, you were that, and then you had the idea of like aristocracy, and aristocracy would like own the stuff and get paid tribute from it. I read Distant Mirror by Barbara Tuchman, which is a very interesting read for anyone at home. It's like 1,000 pages, very good. And it sort of talks about like, you know, a period in like 16th century, like Europe kind of thing. And what is crazy about that is just like how petty all the like expenditure of rich people like is to just like flex on each other, and the expense of like human life that they're willing to tolerate to flex on some other rich guy. But
I don't think anything's changed in that regard.
But in terms of like actual like sort of wealth you had, so in that period of time, like wealth was like very tightly controlled, right? And like people would, you know, live in like legitimate squalor with like fleas in their house all over the place, and like basically terrible. Like I read that whole book and I'm like, thank Jesus Christ I'm alive. Like it's one of those things where, you know, you ask the fish, how's the water today? They're like, what water? Because they just like...
Don't know how good we've got it.
Yeah, because they just like, well, I just live in it every day. I'm not conscious of the fact that I have fleas and that I could actually potentially have running hot water. But wealth in that time, you know, concentrated at the top. And then we had basically the 19th and 20th century, which sort of broke that apart a little bit. Like we had the Industrial Revolution, which afforded like, in some ways, more material resources. Like it brought the cost of a lot of stuff down, which enabled average people to have it. And then we had like, you know, the internet and like a lot of manufacturing stuff in the 20th century, which allows us to now have all the nice shit we have now. But like something which, because of that same technology we have now, is that has enabled, on one hand, and we talked about this on maybe the first episode, on one hand we have the best material lifestyle conditions of anyone ever at quite a frankly low price point. Like that's maybe like kind of someone might hear that be like, what, that's controversial, but it's like your life in Australia, at least, if you are poor and on Centrelink, is better than really anyone from history. Like maybe if you're homeless, probably not, seriously, but if you have like a roof over your head somewhere, it is objectively, in absolute terms, better. Yeah. But what it's also enabled is people at that top end of the spectrum to accumulate and have more wealth than anyone ever. Like orders of magnitude more.
Yeah. We are living in a time where, for a massive majority, the majority of human civilization, we have lived in filth and died and tripped over each other and died, got a disease, died,
sneezed, died.
Just lived and died, you know?
Yeah.
If you got to 40, fucking good on you, you know? The last 250 years has been a period of the most wealth for the most people in history. And I think we're seeing the end of it, really. Like this is the tailwinds of like, well, you're seeing wealth get concentrated, right? And then you're sort of heading back towards a techno-feudalism.
Very trendy word.
So that's the trend. Well, that's the sort of trajectory we're on.
It is.
But, you know.
Yes. But yeah, and so, like, yeah, I agree. And what has driven that has been like, I think to some extent, like things are pretty good, so people don't like mobilize in the same way they used to, like historically.
Bread
like
and circuses, baby.
Yeah, well, in that like book by Barbara Tuchman, like it talks about like Flemish like revolts after like, you know,
bread shortages or something.
Yeah, and that kind of thing. And like people would just like, fuck this. They rocked up to like whatever lord and lady owned the town and like fucking killed them.
French Revolution.
And subsequently faced like, you know, the broader Flemish aristocrats would rock up with their armies to like kill every man, woman and child.
You have to be willing to die for your cause, and no one. Yeah. It's not bad enough.
It's like, because it's not dire enough.
It's not bad enough.
Yeah, you're like,
you know, the water's still hot. You can still get on Uber Eats.
Yeah, 7-Eleven, $1 for a slushie.
Exactly. Macca's is still just around the corner. You know, it's really not that dire. And I think as the grievances become stronger, As things get more, we will reach a tipping point. But I don't think it's, and that is the balance of, I think, the uber wealthy or the uber rich or the political elite.
Yeah.
I think that's the balance they play. It's like, how do we
take the most,
but just enough?
How do we bend it?
Just enough, how do you give people just enough? And
but people are inherently greedy, right? So
well,
it's
that's a philosophical question.
Yeah, they're trying to bend it until it breaks. It's kind of like someone will be like, I can bend it a bit more.
Yeah, and the whole thing falls apart.
I can bend it a bit more until it doesn't.
I think,
But the Illuminati won't let that happen. So.
No. Yeah. I think eventually you get to the point where it's like, and it always happens gradually. Like it always happens slowly.
And all at once.
And as the union movement says, no loss is permanent, no win is forever. So you can fight back and you can win better pay, better conditions, better whatever, and then the next negotiation you can lose it again.
Yeah.
So it's a constant fight. You're constantly fighting for better pay, better conditions, a better life.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that's happened, and this is something that Kristen has spoken about with her colleagues or about her colleagues, is that so many of them no longer view themselves as working class. These people are, electricians.
They work for a living.
They work for a living.
Yeah. They get money through labor.
We're working class effectively.
That is like that. Anyone who says that, the distinction is,
do you work?
Do you have to work to make money? Yes, you are working class.
Yeah.
Do you get money through capital and owning stuff? Yes, then you are not working class.
So
that is the line.
This is what's happening with them, right? They earn so much money because of the pay and conditions that's been afforded to them through the union movement. So apparently half her workforce is constantly on ComSec, just trading stocks non-stop all day.
I'm sure.
Literally. Short-term managed funds, great.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
You know what I mean? And then the other half of them are buying investment properties.
Yeah.
Trying to break the cycle of their life and trying to get ahead. And it's like, at some stage, you have to, I think there used to be a notion that like, I'm a Sparky, I'm not going to be a millionaire. And that's fine. You'll have a life. You'll have children. You'll be happy.
It's not all about the money.
You don't need, what is with this?
What is this hole
you're
trying to fill
notion
with
that like,
stuff?
With
your gas, with your...
Yeah. Well, what is this idea that I just want to have 5 investment properties and I want to fucking pay them all off by the time I'm 40 and I just don't want to actually ever have to work again.
Yeah, because it's crazy, right? Because the actual like research into that FIRE stuff, like where it's like, what is this? Financial independence, retire early stuff. The people who do it are like
miserable,
completely miserable.
Yeah, they've got no purpose. What do you do?
Which is a sad indictment on their like philosophical maturity.
Because you've sacrificed every relationship you've had. You've sacrificed your social circle. You sacrificed all the fun to retire at 40. And you retire at 40 and you go, what do I do?
I have no meaning.
I have no
in
friends.
My life. Yeah. Yeah, but it's that meaning. It's the meaning question for me. It's not the friends thing. Like if your meaning is separate to friends or relationships.
We're hitting the big ticket items today.
Yeah.
I think it was Jimmy Carr on Facebook.
And that guy is actually...
He
is like an anathema to me because he simultaneously comes out with some stuff and I'm like, wow, that's deep. And sometimes he says stuff where I'm like, that is so fucking stupid.
Anyway, so he said something and he said he thinks he's cracked it, the meaning of life. And he said it's 5 words. Enjoy the passing of time. That's it. It's all you have to do. Enjoy the passing of time. And that's really stuck with me. I probably saw that a couple of months ago and I've just thought, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Because the time's going to pass, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And just enjoy it. Let it, maybe don't let it wash over you. Like live it, enjoy it, the passing of time. It's not about, having 15 houses.
Stuff.
You don't need the stuff.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
If the stuff is...
If you enjoy acquiring it...
I mean, the question is, right, like if the stuff actually... I mean, would...
Well, it raises some interesting questions. What if you enjoy, what if you really enjoy the pursuit of a house? What if you enjoy renovating? What if you enjoy... But do you actually enjoy it? Like, are you kidding yourself?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy...
And like, what has conditioned you to enjoy that?
Why do you think...
And is that
I love the grind of renovating.
Because, I mean, maybe this is just like me and my psychology. But anyone who's told me that they genuinely enjoyed that, I would say you have not actually done any work on digging into why you like that and thinking about what you actually want.
Yeah.
That feels like you opened the first page of you picked up an Australian newspaper when you were about 5 years old. You read some column in there about the Australian dream, and you're like, all right,
got to start renovating.
that's me.
Yep.
But law of large numbers, which is a statistical thing, which is no outcome, no matter how improbable, given a large enough sample size, it'll happen once. There's got to be someone out there who is legit
I've done it. I've found it.
this
Career Mail article.
There's no I dug deep. This is just what it's about for me.
I think a lot of people have become infected, polluted by that.
Yeah.
But it's an infection. And it's also the media diet. It's what you hear. It's Australia's drunk on property, constantly. Property.
Yeah.
How do I get on the property ladder?
How do I expand?
Yeah. How do I equity?
Someone says
remortgaging. Who gives a fuck?
Portfolio. You're like,
you're a fuckwit.
yeah.
You're a fuckwit. I don't want to talk to you ever again. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if you bought a house in Logan 4 years ago and it's up 15%.
Yeah.
Give a fuck, mate. What do you do day to day? What do you actually do? Do you like doing it?
Yeah. The people in your life.
Yeah.
How
many times a week to get your hair cut? If it's more than twice, it's more than one. If it's more than 0.
Once a month.
Exactly.
Monthly. 12. How many haircuts a year?
Yeah. That's actually a really good fuckwit indicator, I reckon. How many times do you get your hair cut? 30?
Yeah, you'd be like,
oh, jeez. But what do these people do? I've never spoken to someone and been like, wow, that's a really interesting perspective on the housing market, and you're just doing it for your kids, and it's just generational wealth.
That's what I want to say. So the devil's advocate I will play is when people, so I think when you talk about the game or a game of life, you have the rules of the game and you blame the government for, and you can dig a bit deeper into that, and you can be like, well, the government is set by the people with money and capital to finance advertising campaigns to launch blah 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 blah. But fundamentally, you kind of have to blame the government for that for a lot of it, and then for what people actually do with their days and times. It's kind of if you are legit playing the game to put your kids through school and put a roof over their head and try and do something which you genuinely believe is in their best interest, I can't hold that against anyone.
No.
I can't, and someone doing something for their family, I'm never going to be you're a bad person for that. No. I can have problems with how, why that is what they are doing for their family.
I think I know the point you're trying to make. I think when you talk about that stuff, the immediate example I think of is I'm buying an investment property so my kids have somewhere to live, because housing is so expensive and it's only going to get more expensive, and in 20 years time, how the fuck are they ever going to be able to afford it? And my answer to that is, what the fuck are you doing about it to make housing cheaper?
Yeah.
What are you doing about it? Nothing. You're participating in it.
Yeah.
In fact, by that mentality is making it worse.
But that's a classic game theory trap, Nicholas.
Yeah,
isn't it?
bullshit.
It's the prisoner dilemma where it's
totally.
Well, if I don't participate in it, then someone else is, and then my kids are going to lose out. And so, collectively, we participate.
And everyone has fallen into that trap. But it's what the fuck? What are you guys doing? Stop it.
Well, that's the rules of the game, and that's why you have to
wasting your time and money
at the government for constructing the rules of the
game. It also asks questions about having children, would you have children in a world where potentially they'll never be able to afford a home, or do you expect that your spawn will have the ability, to rise above?
This is
my children will be kings.
No, on this note, I know a couple who had a daughter a year ago. Maybe not quite a year.
That's your first problem, mate.
Well, no, maybe about a year. No,
it's horribly sexist. It's not a joke about her being.
And it was kind of I went to their baby shower sort of thing, which
Who was this?
It was Isabel and Will. Yeah. And I was having a beer with Will, sort of talking about it and that kind of thing. And one of through the extended family, one of those guys is a property investor sort of thing. And they were talking about housing and that kind of thing. And I think I just sort of like asked. Well, like they would think they were talking about like housing or something. Of course, Australians. What else do we talk about?
Yeah. G'day, how you going? You got a house here?
If you're not a property owner, like sit somewhere else. Brokey.
It's just fucking sad.
Yes, it is
Anyway,
sad. But
what were you talking
I
about?
just asked him. I was like, I mean, I was talking about where he wanted to live and like that kind of thing. And I was just sort of like, oh, you know, like question came up about like a spare room or something. And I was like, I think I just asked him, I was like, so, you know, when do you reckon like they'll move out of home? Because he was talking about like, you know, where they wanted to live and what they wanted to do. And that was like, I think maybe the first time someone had said something which made the penny drop around like, holy fucking shit. Like if this is the way it goes, like where actually do my kids live if it's not with me? Because that's the only place they can afford to do it. And that's like something I've thought about before buying and other stuff, where it's like literally everything I was looking at was like, it needs to have a spare room because worst case scenario, an adult needs to live there. And this general space needs to be cohabitable for, and you know, I want to, you know, I'm not going to say like I wouldn't, like you'd want your kids to find independence and all that kind of stuff. But you mean like, you know, as bad as it gets, worst case scenario, like how feasible is this? And your dad's done that. Like he still lives in his house with like, you know, their wife because, you know, fundamentally, like my opinion is like they believe they're keeping Hotel Curthloy Spencer open.
Yeah. I
Open.
think, well, I don't know if you've spoken to Tracy about it, but she wants to sell the house.
She does want to sell the house.
Yeah, she does.
But why? That's why your dad hasn't though.
Well, no, Dad hasn't because Dad is attached to the idea of a family home. And Tracy's a pragmatist. Tracy's like, Andrew, I can barely go up and down these fucking stairs.
Yeah.
I'm 65 years old. And it's just too big.
Yeah,
like you don't want to be cleaning a house like
mate,
that in your 70s.
I had a uni job of like
helping
them take care of the house, and I'm like, this sucks.
And you get paid.
Yeah,
you know?
I was there like three hours a week, and that was like maybe just staying on top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just the running costs of a house that big, especially as you age.
Yeah.
But no one gives a fuck about that.
Yes, but
they'll sell it for $5 million.
Anyway,
They'll be fine.
This is Grievance stuff where it's like, yeah, well, you know. But yeah.
But what do you do about it, you know?
What do you do about it?
I try and every time I meet someone who says, yeah, we're thinking about buying an investment property, I say, so why are you doing that? You just get into the conversation. You say, why
are you doing that outsized returns?
yeah, I'm going to make a fuckload of money. Just ask. I actually usually start with an inflammatory statement, which is I don't think anyone should own more than one home. And they go, what do you mean? But it's such an affront because they've never actually considered that maybe we shouldn't own more than a. It's like, well, I've got one home, I've got a bit of equity. Well, I should probably buy another home.
Yeah.
Why? Well, the answer is for the money, you know. But what
are you doing by that? Like, what are the implications of your actions?
Like non-productive investment, blah blah blah. Like you're taking supply. It is. I think it is a completely unethical decision, and it's a completely blind decision to make. You know, like I just don't think anyone. And I think it needs to be. Well, this is the other problem is that every fucking man and their dog has an investment property, so it's really hard to shame people into make. You know, like I think it is an unethical choice to make.
It's been like a no-lose investment in Australia for so long.
Like, of course, you know, it's the best investment you'll ever make for a lot of people. It's really hard to lose money on a house in Australia.
Yeah, it is. So, which is a bit of nuance. Two bits of like nuance here is like, first thing is like the returns on housing in Australia have been so good because obviously the market has performed well. But the reason why you make more money is because of the leverage. Fundamentally, like if you look at stock market or like alternative financial instruments, you can invest in.
You can borrow more money, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so they have actually like, you know, in terms of percentage increased more, but because of the leverage, like basically the debt you can take on the house, you make more money.
Can't get a mortgage to buy stocks.
Yes, and the second thing is in a bull market, everyone's a fucking expert. Everyone's like, everyone's making money. Everyone feels good about it. Like I had a discussion with someone recently who has been like crushing it on like their ComSec account. And
Did they say crushing it?
No, they didn't. That's my putting words in their mouth.
That's
but
good.
But they were like telling me about like their like financial strategy and stuff. I'm like, you don't fucking know anything about investing. It's just, broadly speaking, markets go up.
Line go up.
Yeah, and I'll give them some credit in terms of they were reading, I can't remember who it was produced by, but it was like one of the like investment banks. They released like a monthly or like quarterly newsletter.
Like a pseudo white paper.
Yeah, about like, you know, what their picks are and that kind of thing. And they're like, oh yeah,
I'll just copy that.
Yeah, and they're like, and that's oblivious to the fact. And you know, it's one of those midwit meme things where like, you know, it's oblivious. I think they were oblivious to the fact where it's like, well, you know, they put this out, it becomes a hot stock because people read it there and then they buy it, and that's why the price goes up. And the midwit part is, at the low end, you have people going, oh, they said it's good, it goes up, fine. The midwit part, the middle part is like, oh, it's only going up because people are like, it's buying into it because it's like some amount of bullshit or whatever. And then the like enlightened monk mode is like, it's bullshit and everything. But it's going up, so it's actually a good buy. So, but I think they were on the end of the spectrum where it was like, they said it's a good idea. It's got good fundamentals, mate. And you're like,
fundamentals? What the fuck? Tell me about the fundamentals of this business.
Yeah.
What does it actually do? What do they sell?
Yep.
You know, like,
Yep.
Fuck. The best thing I've ever heard, the best phrase I've ever heard about the stock market is that it's astrology for men. If you believe in it, it'll happen. If you believe in it hard enough, and if you convince enough other people it'll happen, it'll happen.
My God, I remember there was like, you could Google image search it. Maybe we'll flash it up on the screen now. But it was like,
I'm not doing that. Sorry.
yeah,
no post.
But it was like, so you know how you see like, you know, stock prices, they go up and they make all these different moves and that kind of thing. And it was people like, drawing patterns out of them.
We're in a W. We're in a double trough. Yeah, I've seen that stuff. It's fucking dead shit. It's inane. It's like, well, we're the top of it. We're in a U inverted W, X, Y, Z, Z, and then once we hit the W, it's gonna go crazy. It's like, you are
and that again goes to the midwit meme, right? Where you're like on the low end, you're like, that is like, yes, we're in a double, like bottom of a W, so it's about to explode. And then you're like, time to buy. And then the middle is like, no, it's all bullshit, it doesn't matter. And then the enlightened is like, well, other people think it's in the bottom of a W, so it is actually about to explode.
Just fuck.
Until it doesn't, and then it's
like, if you ever want to read some insane shit, look up like day traders who trade currency. It's all chart, like it's all, we're in a U inverted spiral, you know, XY's crashing. Like it's just this. And they're like, yeah, I'll make good money. You know, I spend 14 hours a day trading currencies to make $300. But I don't have to work. I don't have to work, man. It's like, I think work is really important. Work is the most, like, it is, I think it's an act of self-care.
Yeah.
If you can find a job that is affirming.
I'm on the midwit meme right now. So I think work also falls into the midwit thing.
You work? You're a fucking idiot.
No. So it's like, so on the low end, it's kind of like my job is my purpose and that kind of thing. And that's what I get fulfillment out of. And then the middle is like your value of worth shouldn't be tied for like what you do for work and like that kind of thing. And then the enlightened is like, well, work shouldn't be where I get it from, but I have to spend enough of my time doing it. And it's how I spend my days. And time passing something, Jimmy Carr's quote.
Yeah.
And so I've like sort of found something and made my peace with that. Yeah. And so it's like, you know, so I think work falls into that as well. Where like, you know, your whole sense of worth shouldn't come from work, but you can find incredible meaning through that. We've totally left the grievance politics now.
It's a loose thread, you know?
So on the topic of, maybe we'll close with this.
Okay.
Let's close with this. So this discussion, not just this, what I'm about to say.
Right.
So in terms of purpose, I think a lot of people get purpose from work and that kind of thing. And if you look at the stats, what gives people the purpose more than anything, like the most statistically significant thing to happen to someone, which they will then report having purpose in their life, is having children. And I think in a lot of ways, my like hot take would be like, I think having kids to have a sense of purpose is like simultaneously something you can do ethically and non-ethically. You can do it because you're like, I just want something that matters, and bring someone in this world, and then they have some kind of life. But then you can also do it where it's like, it's going to be great for me. Great for me. This is about to like give my life a sense of purpose.
Think of the content. Think of the photos.
Well, no, you don't have to like become like a micro influencer for it to do that. You can just like send them to school and watch them grow up and learn to read and be like, holy shit, look at this.
Hold their hand and stuff.
Yeah.
You sound like you see, kid story.
You watch them kick a soccer ball slightly better than last week.
Is this an announcement?
I'm pregnant.
No, I think you're right. But I also think like having children comfortably, you are totally at the mercy of broader macroeconomic trends.
Man.
You know?
Well, this goes...
Well, unless you're really rich.
Yeah, but this connects to like something else where it's like choice, right? And options and flexibility. Like as soon as you have kids, the options and the space of things and actions you can take.
Well, it narrows the path.
Yeah.
But I think also...
That narrows the path in terms of what you can do.
For a while, you know?
If you're trying to be ethical about it. Like you can have a kid and just like, you know, put them in front of an iPad and go out with your mates.
Perfect.
And like, you know, did they die? No. Did you technically break the law?
Is their brain like Swiss cheese?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Depends how old they are when you left them unattended as to the legality of that.
I don't think there's anything illegal about putting a kid in front of an iPad for 14 hours a day. There's not, and there should be.
Yeah.
But there's not.
Actually, maybe this is a hotter take. Every iPad should come with like, because they all have Face ID on them now. They should like, how old is the user?
Cannot use for more than half an hour.
Yeah. If you're under 18,
Can you imagine the revolts? I think there'd be fucking people on the street.
Parent, yeah.
What do you mean I can't?
And this is like such a childless person thing to like talk about because everyone with the kid, you just see them after like being sleep deprived, shattered. They're just looking for like 30 minutes of peace. And so they give them the screen.
What did our parents do, mate? There were no iPads back then. Maybe your parents. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I think also when you have kids, it changes your perspective on a lot of what is important economically and from a government policy perspective. I think if I had kids, I would care a lot more about education funding. You know, I'd care a lot more about outcomes for kids.
Yeah.
You know, like child protection stuff.
Yeah.
I'd care a lot more about things that are going to impact. Because at the moment, I think the only stuff I really care about, I think broadly, are like income inequality and wealth inequality. At the moment, those are my two hot topic political issues. Like identity politics, I think it's important.
Distraction, sideshow, mate.
Exactly. I think it's important that those people are recognised, but I also think
let them do what they want. I don't give a shit.
They couldn't give a fuck about the 1,000 blossoms bloom.
Yeah, literally.
Who don't give two shits.
Yeah,
but
meanwhile, someone's getting by a crocodile every 2 weeks.
You've had a fucking 0.1% pay rise every year for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
That's 20% real wage cut.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
You're not spending your time and energy where you need it.
Exactly. But that's a tactic. It's a tactic.
That is a tactic.
Anyway.
So that's that idea of like, you know, you can have kids as a way to give your life meaning.
I don't think you should.
And you should, I mean, if you do it, you should do it like consciously. And you should understand that.
Yeah, I think having kids to find meaning, I think is a recipe for disaster.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. That is my take as well.
If it's an addition to an otherwise well-rounded life, I think you're on the right track.
All right. I reckon that's a wrap.
Copy that.
Thanks for tuning in.
Oh, yes. Another great episode of two blokes rambling about their grievances under the guise of a podcast.